Ignore that temperature readout and you're gambling with range, charging speed, and battery life. And the odds are not in your favor. Today we are translating the hidden language of your EV's thermometer. The little numbers or bars that sit next to your state of charge. This isn't cabin comfort data, it's a live health meter for the battery and powertrain. I'll show you exactly why those degrees matter more than you think, give real numbers on how heat and cold change range and aging, and show the simple daily sweet spot you can use to keep your EV fast, safe, and long-lived. By the end, you will never look at the thermometer the same way. Hello everyone, I'm Shayan, an engineer specialized in electric vehicle development. What the thermometer actually measures. Most EVs show more than outside air temperature. They surface battery pack temperature, coolant loop readings, or a calculated battery health indicator derived from multiple sensors. The Battery Management System, or BMS, watches internal cell temperatures, inlet and outlet coolant temperatures, and averages across the pack. Those values tell the car when to allow fast charging, when to pre-warm or pre-cool, and when to throttle power to protect longevity. NREL and industry reviews emphasize that temperature and temperature uniformity directly affects performance, lifespan, and safety, not just comfort. Batteries are chemical systems. At low temperatures, ions move slowly, internal resistance rises, and pack cannot accept high charging current without risking lithium plating. At high temperatures, reactions speed up. Capacity may seem better short term, but aging accelerates and unsafe thermal events become more likely. That's why most lithium-ion packs perform better in the middle window, typically around 15 to 35 degrees Celsius for many chemistries, and why charging limits are enforced outside that window. Peer-reviewed literature and industry tests consistently put this operational sweet zone in the mid-teens to mid-30s Celsius. Cold weather is not just uncomfortable, it eats range. Real-world data shows on substantial drops. A broad study of models found EVs on average retain about 78% of their ideal range at freezing temperatures, like 0 degrees Celsius, and many cars lose roughly 20 to 30% or more in typical winter conditions.
When the temperature drops, the chemistry inside an electric vehicle battery changes. Lithium ions and electrons move through the cell more slowly.
Some models fall by nearly 40% under severe use. AAA and recurrent data both show that at low temperatures, especially when cabin heating is demanded, range losses of 20 to 40% are common. That's why your pack temperature readout matters before you head out on a cold morning. Heat is a slow thief. Experiments and post-mortem studies demonstrate that elevated temperatures accelerate side reactions that permanently reduce range and capacity. For instance, lab studies show degradation rates climb noticeably as cycle tests move from 25 degrees Celsius up to 45 to 55 Celsius, and the fraction of capacity lost after a few hundred cycles can be multiple times higher at hotter ends. Higher temperatures also increase risk of thermal runaway if abused. That's why manufacturers and researchers emphasize thermal control, and why you will see warnings to avoid parking in blazing sun or charging repeatedly immediately after hard driving. Your car won't pull full DC fast charge power if the battery is too cold or too hot. In practice, many EVs give their highest sustained charge power in the approximate state of charge and temperature window between about 10 to 50% state of charge, and pack temperatures between 15 and 35 degrees Celsius. Outside that, the car limits current to protect cells. Practical testing and modeling show preconditioning a battery before a DC stop, warming it on the freeway en route, can increase initial peak power by 30 to 50% and shave off minutes on a 10 to 80% session. That's why route-based preconditioning exists, and why some tests show dramatic speed-ups when it's used. Why drivers ignore it and pay for it. Most drivers treat the thermometer like background noise. But the BMS uses that signal to decide everything from charge current to cabin preheat strategy. Ignore it and you'll experience slower charging, shorter trips, faster long-term degradation, and occasional emergency cutbacks, where the car reduces power mid-drive. The challenge is simple. Most user interfaces hide nonce, showing a single bar or a vague warning. Drivers need a mental model and an actionable sweet spot, not just the color change. The sweet spot, how to use temperature for daily commuting. Here's a practical, no-nonsense routine that protects range, charge speed, and battery life. Keep the pack in the middle range when you can. Charge to around 80% for daily use, and avoid leaving the car at 100% state of charge for a long time. Most OEM guidance and academic studies show mid-range state of charge reduces stress and slows aging. Schedule charging to finish during off-peak hours and so that the battery is at the moderate temperature and when unplugged in the morning. If you park in a garage, your overnight plug-in helps the pack stay in the sweet window without extra energy use. Use preconditioning on the way to a planned DC fast charging to warm the pack. Tests show this can boost early sessions power and shorten total stop time. Pre-warm before winter charging stops in hot weather, park shaded, or time your charge for the cooler night hours. Concrete daily numbers you can use tonight. If your commute is 30 miles per day and your car averages 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, you need about 8.6 kilowatt hour per day. A typical level 2 like 7.2 kilowatt charger will replenish that in 1.2 hours. Plug in overnight and schedule charging to finish in the early morning hours so the pack stays in a stable temperature window for driving. That avoids cold soak or heat soak at departure and reduces the need for aggressive thermal events that age components. If you must DC fast charge, plan to arrive with the pack between 10 and 40% state of charge to maximize the time in the high power plateau. And precondition when possible. Arriving with a cold pack can reduce initial power drastically and make a 20-minute stop become 40 plus minutes. Tools and behaviors that help. Use heat pump cabin settings where available. Heat pumps reduce HVAC draw winter and preserve range. Analysis shows heat pumps can cut heating energy use substantially compared with resistive heaters. Favors covered or garage parking where possible so ambient temperatures don't swing your pack wildly tonight. Even a simple car cover or shaded parking can help in hot climates. Don't panic charge to 100% unless you really need the range for a trip. Higher state of charge and heat together accelerate aging. Studies repeatedly show that higher voltage cutoffs and hotter conditions are the worst. Imagine two drivers on the same highway. Driver A plugs straight into a DC station with a cold pack. The car limits current and session drags. Driver B used route preconditioning and brought the battery into the 20 to 30% Celsius. Driver B hits the charger and sees a high initial kilowatt plateau, leaves 10 minutes earlier and reaches the destination with less stress on the pack. The difference isn't magic, it's temperature management in action. Modern research and vehicle tests back that up, showing measurable charging performance. What you need to remember, your EV's thermometer is not decorative, it's a control signal. Keep your battery in the mid-temperature zone. Roughly 15 to 35 degrees Celsius is a good rule of thumb for many lithium-ion packs. Avoid extremes. Cold cuts range and charging speed. Heat accelerates degradation. Use scheduled level 2 charging for daily miles. Precondition before fast charging. Favor heat pump HVAC if available, and don't store at 100% state of charge for long periods. These simple habits protect range today and battery health long term.